Welcome. So today we're going to look at truth tables. And in order to create truth tables, we have to know what compound statements are. Compound statements are created by combining statements with and or. And we've looked at this already symbolically. We know that the one that looks like a capital A without the line in there is going to be our and our or is our V. Alright, so let's look at this. When compound statements are connected with and, it is called a conjunction. For an and statement to be true, we need both of our statements to be true. So let's look at these down here, these examples. The first one, our P, it says that Monday immediately follows Sunday. I would say that's true. In our days of the week, Monday comes after Sunday. Next, for Q, it says that March immediately follows February. I would say that's true as well. Next, for R, it says Friday immediately follows Sunday. No, that's not true. We've already said that Monday immediately follows Sunday. And next, it says May immediately follows November, which is not true as well. December comes after November. So now let's look at these conjunction statements. So it says P and Q. P and Q is going to be true because let's look at this. We know that P is true and we know that Q is true. So P and Q is true because both statements are true. Alright, so for the next one, P and R. So we have P is true and R is false. Well, for a conjunction, for ones that are combined with and, both statements have to be true. So this here, our P and R is false because one, let me write that again. Because one statement is false. Next, we have R and S. So we know that R is false and S is false, which means the whole conjunction R and S is going to be false because both statements are false. So that was our conjunctions. Now let's look at our disjunctions. So whenever our compound statements are connected with or, that's going to be called our disjunction. So again, these are our examples that I had from before, so I'm just going to copy over. We know that it was true, true, false, false. And now, for an or statement to be true, we need at least one of the statements to be true. So let's look at these examples again. P or Q. So we have P is true and Q is true. So this statement is going to be true because both statements are true. Alright, now we have P or S. We know P is true and we know S is false. We just need at least one of them to be true in order for our disjunction to be true. So this one is going to be true as well because one of our statements is true. And the last one, R or S, both of those statements are false. So since not one is true, then our whole disjunction is going to be false because both are false. Now that we have our truth values down, let's really dive into our truth tables. Truth tables are going to allow us to determine all of the possible outcomes given every combination of true and false for our different statements. So if you look here, our truth table for conjunctions, which is our and, looks like this. We start off our list with P, so we have true, false, true, false. And our Q's is going to be true, true, false, false. That's just to get every combination. So we have a true P, true Q, false P, true Q, true P, false Q, and false P, false Q. If you start off writing it like these, then you will get every combination like that you want. So now we're going to look at those two columns to figure out our P and Q column. Remember, for conjunctions, we want both to be true. Alright, so we have this first column here. We have a true and a true, so that's going to make our P and Q true. Next, we have a false and a true, so that makes our P and Q false. Next, we have a true and a false, so that makes just one false, so that makes our P and Q false. And last, we have a false and a false, so that makes our P and Q false. Same idea. You can see that the first two columns look exactly the same as our conjunction table. But now our last column is going to look a little different because this is our P or Q, because now we're looking at disjunctions. So our disjunction is our or, and that just means that one of them have to be true. So that's going to get us true for our first column because both of ours are P and Q are true. True for our second row because our P is true, even though our Q is false, just one of them is true. Next we have true again because now our Q is true. And the last one's false because both of those are false. So let's look and try some more. So this, we're just trying to figure out the truth values for each of them. So parallel lines have the same slope. I'm going to give you a little bit. Maybe you can try to fill these in for yourself. You can pause the videos here and try it out your own. Whoops, I didn't mean to go back. So parallel lines have the same slope. That is going to be true. Q, a quadrilateral does not have four sides. Well, that is false because a quadrilateral definitely has four sides. P and Q, we need both of them to be true in order for it to be true. So this one's going to be false. P and not Q. Alright, well that's something new that we haven't seen. So not Q is going to negate whatever we had for Q. So we had that Q was false, so now we want not Q to be true. So now we can look, P and not Q. So not Q is true and P is true, so that's going to make this one true. P or Q. P is true, which means at least one of them is true, so that makes this one true. And P or not Q. Again, P and not Q are true, so that makes this one true as well. Let's look at an example of a truth table, actually filling one out completely. So again, we want to start off with filling out all the combinations of P and Q that we know. So we're going to have true, true, false, false. And over here we want true, false, true, false. Now we want not P, so that's negating our P column here. So we're going to do the opposite of what we have. So this is going to be false, false, and then true, true. Now we want not P and Q. So we need both of our not P, our not P column and our Q column. We want them both to be true. So our first one, we have this not P as false, so that's not going to be true. Then we have both of them as false, so that's not going to be true. Then we have two trues. And then the last one, our Q is false. So I want you to pause the video here and try our next example, our B. So I hope you tried it out. I'm going to go ahead and create the table. So we're going to need a lot of different information here. We're going to need P. We're going to need Q. We're going to need P or Q. We're going to need not Q. And we're going to need our final one, which is P or Q and not Q. Sorry, that kind of got a little squished. So let's look at this. We need our 4 rows. We're going to start off again with true, true, false, false, and true, false, true, false. So now looking at P or Q, we need at least one of them to be true. So we should have gotten true, 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 and false here. And looking at not Q, we're just going to do the opposite of our Q column. So you should have false, true, false, true. And now for P or Q and not Q, we already have our P or Q set up here in a nice column. And we have our not Q set up here in our nice column. So now we just have to look at those two columns, and we need both of them to be true since we have an and in the middle there. Alright, so this first one's going to be false. The second one, we have both of them true, so that makes that true. We have one false in the next one and one false in the last one. So that's what your truth table should look like. Now you can go on and continue the 4 that are on your worksheet. Thanks for watching.